and then I will hand over to Linn. Yeah, share. Yeah, I think everyone can see my screen. So welcome everyone again. So this user group is a Auckland Power Platform user group. There are two user groups. I think most of them are aware. Like there is a user group which is currently running by Greg and Hamish, Auckland and Dynamics Power Platform user group. And this user group is specifically for Power Platform related stuff, not covering any Dynamics product, just specifically on Power Platform. So it covers all the five Power Platform products, which is Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, and Power Pages, which was the news recently introduced product, and also some of the Dataverse and AI Builder capability. And as I mentioned, like just as a courtesy, like I request everyone to mute your microphone and then unmute whenever is necessary. And also, like this slide deck will be shared with you once we finish with our session. You can find this in the official user group, which is on the bottom. You can see on the link here. So if you guys want to know more about the session, maybe in the future sessions and the upcoming events, feel free to register. All the sessions are completely free for learning. And what we do, so this is based on the Microsoft initiative. So this is highly promoted by Microsoft as well. And we have good contacts with New Zealand Microsoft here, based in Auckland. And we plan to conduct this meeting on a monthly basis. Also, like there will be like speakers from Microsoft and Microsoft MVPs, also the super users and key experts from this area. They will be speaking on this group, and mostly like we'll try to organize a hybrid event, which will be like in person as well as like through online. In future, probably from next year, until then it will be like through online. And also the whole purpose of this group is to have fun and then learn the product, and then innovate through Power Platform. And this is the whole, and also parallelly, like you can upskill your Power Platform skills through these events. So today agenda is very simple. Like we'll go through. We have already gone through the housekeeping, and then what we do, then the show, which is none other than popular Linn. So he is like a MVP since 2020, and also like he's a frequent blogger and then active speaker across the globe, and also like a technical architect currently working for Delta Insights. And the good news is he has joined Datacom recently. So today he will be covering mailroom automation, which is a really interesting topic. And this topic was raised, and we have collected feedback from the users, and especially like this was the most popular one. And then the speaker was like none other than Linn. With that, I will hand over to Linn to start the show.
Thanks for the introduction, Raghavan. So I will share my screen. And if you have any issue with audio, please unmute and to let me know. And this is the updated slide where I think I need to switch over to 5% of view. Okay. Okay. Yeah, as Raghavan mentioned, I'm Linn. Currently working as a technical architect at Datacom as of yesterday. Today I'm going to present about document attachment and generating board templates using Power Automate cloud flows. So let's talk about in what scenarios we can use this kind of feature in this functionality to get the business value out of it. So the first scenario is the the things that the scenario that I personally encounter last couple of weeks, where the HR send these onboarding forms, and on all of those forms you have to refill your name, date of birth, and all these things, even though you have already provided since in the very first initial form. So in these kind of forms, imagine you have all this information of your applicants. You can easily populate those basic information, and when you send out those other security clearance forms or bank information details, different forms. Similarly, let's say if you have the scenario where you have the send out the admission decision letter for a university intake. So once you make the decisions, or when you make the batch, you will send out all these acceptance or rejection letters to all these students by populating these templates, and you can fill up all these personalize the first names and all the information. And in this kind of things, you can use this Word template to send out the system. And third scenario is sending the invoice. When you have this jobs capture in Dynamics 365 or in your Dataverse environment, you can, once the job is completed, you can change the status, and after that, the Power Automate can auto-populate all this information, like the billing address, the amounts, and the job remarks and status, and all these job details in the invoice, and send it out to the customer. So these are 3 out of dozens or even hundreds of scenarios possible for this kind of functionality. And the solution overview, it all starts with the current, one of the old features, not old, existing features, which comes from Dynamics 365, the Word document template. So we create a Word document template. After that, we will implement a Power Automate Cloud Flow to auto-generate and pre-populate all these data. And that will automatically create attachment in the notes of this related records. And the other part of this Cloud Flow will fetch this data and send the email to the customer. So this is not the only way where you can achieve it. If you search send Word document template by Power Automate Cloud Flows, you will see various solutions provided by the community. One of the alternative solution is using the Word Online Business Connector to populate the data, and then these files can be stored in the OneDrive for Business Connector to create the file, and you can grab this file and then send it through the email using the Microsoft Dataverse connector. But the reason why I choose to use the Dynamics 365 Word document template is because in the populating the Microsoft Word templates, you need to specify all these fields and values within the flow itself. Let's say we have this field for example, in the particular example of where you're sending out an invoice, you have the first name, last name, and the amounts that you're going to invoice. And later down the track, you need to add one more field to in your invoice. Okay, I want to add a remarks. And in that case, you need to update the Word template. You need to update this flow in this particular Cloud Flow. So in that case, there are a lot of things you need to update. And also, I would say, even though Cloud Flow is a low-code solution, it's a bit harder for the end users or even like a user admins to manage and maintain those cloud flows. So we wouldn't normally let the users to manage it. But if you are using the Dynamics 365 Watch document templates, the users can just download the Word templates. They can just add a new field, they add some more text, they can re-upload it back. So which is pretty simple without changing the cloud flow. So that is the reason why I chose this particular solution that I'm going to present today. And another reason why I'm not sending the email using the Outlook connector is by sending out from the system, you have this history of all these activities against this particular record. So you can see that, okay, this particular piece of work, I have already sent out the invoice. You can see it in the timeline in the MailRoom app, where if you send out the email directly from the Outlook, it will just go through in the mailbox of this Outlook exchange, and you don't have this activity history for this particular email that you're sending out to the customer. So to create the Word template, I have some few links and URLs in this template, but we will share this PowerPoint slide at the end of the session in the comment section of this user group session. So you can just download and you can just go through those URLs to see what is more details about it. So this is from Microsoft Learn, the official document where there are a few steps involved. Like first, we just download the Word template, and then this is enable the developer tab in the document Word, which is only for a one-time configuration change. You don't have to do it all the time, and you populate the templates and upload the template back, and we use the generate from the template. So I will demo it for those who have never used the document template for Word. I will quickly go through how you can generate it. So first of all, you have two places that you can download. The one is the new Power Platform Admin Center. Go to this environment, and under there we have the settings. Under the settings, we have the list of the templates, which you open it, document template. It will just open the classic UI view, the same view, but this is where eventually Microsoft will show the document templates in the future. Alternatively, you can also go to the advanced settings. In the advanced setting, you can go to the document, it's in the templates and in the document templates. So you can access to the document templates. So the document templates over here are the global system templates where all the users can have access to it. So you can just create a new document template by downloading from here, and just, let's say I'm just going to create for application, and just select entity and which fields we are going to select, and so in the Word document template, we can select one level up or down. That means if you are selecting the account, for example, you can select all the records from the related child contacts, as well as you are getting the values from the parent account as well. So that is where you can select the other relationships. So in this case, I want to get this application. I want to get the application, the customer, as well as the user who owns this application. And we can download this template. While we are downloading, I also want to show you another way of downloading this template. Even when you go to the records, the simplest way is the Word template. You can just download templates. That's the easiest way. It's automatically pre-populated, but you just need to select the same things. Like I want to select the contact, I want to select the user who owns this records, and then download. Okay, now that the file has been downloaded, so this is the first empty file. The first thing that we need to do, as in the documentation, we need to enable the ribbon. So this is currently opening in the secure view. Let me open up this record. Unblock it. Only if you open up the Word document, you can have the option to customize the ribbon. And then from here, you can open up the developer tab. So that will allow you to access this developer tab. From here, you can open the file that we downloaded just now. Okay, currently it's because of this current machine, it's trying to access just showing the open up in the secure view. I will just open up the document as I pre-populated. So this is where you can see the document templates and this placeholders for these particular things. So, you can either get the fields from the document itself, as well as you can get the fields from the parent record as well as the child records. Once you, it's a shame that I can't demonstrate where you can add the fields by in the opening up the document tabs, but in this Microsoft Docs, they have showed you, and you can just follow all these step by step, and you can see it. So especially after adding this developer step, and if you go to the developer step, you can get all these fields that you can see on the right hand side, and just right click and add this content as a plain text. So it's just basically as simple as how you populate the email templates and other emails in the classic workflow. You can make this text, and you can also even get in the tabular format for the child records. So this is how the sample document for templates works. Okay, let's just jump into the, after that, you can just upload it from the here. If you upload it from the here document template, it will be just a personal one. It will only show up under here, and only you can see it unless you share it to the wider team. But if as in the system administrator, if you want to let the whole users use, you can just upload the document from here and choose the file that you modified and save. And you can just upload it file. So once you upload it, the users can go and generate the file locally. This is the example without generating without the automation. Here, all these fields that we populated, like modify on, first name, and the user's full name and the job title, they are all populated. Okay, before we get into the automation thing, I just want to highlight a few things about the Word template. The Word template is not solution aware. What it means, you cannot add a solution, add it in the solution to move from one environment to another. So if you implement it in dev, you need to move to the desk, UAT, and production environment in a different way. So my preferred method is using the community tools like the develop document templates mover, or the more advanced one called document template manager. Another thing while we are facing in the automation is the words document. We can use this out of the box set word template action that is not available in the CloudFlow. So how we overcome is we just create a custom action that called the set word template action, and then we call this custom action from a CloudFlow. So it might be a bit confusing if I describe it in words. I will show it to you in the upcoming demo. So before we jump onto it, the document templates mover tool is just as simple as this. It is part of one of the exam toolbox tool. It is out of the box. You don't even have to download. It's included in the original bundle. You just load the current environment, load all the templates, select the targets, and you just transfer. That's it. But if you ever had to edit the existing document templates, because currently all these document templates, you don't have an option to, you have an option to edit, but you can't download and edit, and you can't re-upload the same records. There's no such option. In that case, you can use the document template manager to edit the templates and re-upload it back to the same file to replace on the server. So that will ensure that you have contain the same GUID and the same name without any change to have a consistency across it. So you can have more details as the links mentioned at the end of the slides. So let's go to the CloudFlow and how we are going to build. As I mentioned, it's calling to the custom action. We have the Microsoft Dataverse, and in the Dataverse, we have an action called perform and unbound action. And in unbound action, there's out of the box, there's a set words template unbound action, but there's no such thing. So I had to create a custom one. So if you look at the custom action, it is just a simple one. Just it will accept the inputs as the templates, and to make it more generic, it will accept the different entity types. So if you have a system have a different areas that you want to generate for the document templates, like college applications, home loan, grants, and job application form. And in those areas, you can add those as the entity reference, which is the lookup. And in the steps below of the action, it will just call the out of the box that what's template action by providing the 2 parameters. So if you click on the set what's template parameters, it will ask you what is the document templates that you are generated. In this example, the document template that we are going to generate is the one in the approval application approval letter, the one that we just uploaded. Okay. And what is the next? The next is the target. On which record are we going to generate? So here, this is the record that we are going to generate. We are going to pass this application GUID. So we need the GUID of this one, as well as the GUID of this record. So these are the 2 parameters that we are going to pass in this one. So to make this action generate, if this application is contains data, it calls the application. If it is a different entity type, it calls a different entity type. So in that way, we can pass the template and application, or we can pass the template and the other entity. So we can make this action generic as possible. So after that, we are we're going to call the actions. So there are a few areas that I encountered when I started this solution. One of the solution issue is this custom table that I created called application cannot be selected in the what template action targets. So this is the one. In this target, I cannot select it. It doesn't appear in this list. This is not available. This application was not available to be selected. So upon checking further, we need to enable the business process flow for, as mentioned in this blog article. So that's a bit tricky because when I look into the entity, when I check into the entity and properties, I couldn't find where I can enable the business process flow. It's not nowhere in this checklist. So as usual, what we have to do, we just go back to the classic Solution Explorer. We have to go and then voila, this you can find this BBF, enable the BBF. So that is the first thing you need to do if you have the custom table that you want to generate the Word documents templates. So the next thing is the perform action with entity reference parameter and Cloudflow. So how you are populating these parameters. So in this process, you have these 3 parameters, but you want to, the one is required and one is optional. You want to, how are we going to pass parameters in the Cloudflow? Because if you select the if you select the custom action that you just selected, what happened is it's just show all the fields in these 2 tables, like gazillions fields, and you can't just set any of these fields and it will just throw an error. So I am not going into details. It is mentioned in this blog post. I just mentioned how to use JSON to populate these action parameters of the bound and unbound actions. But in this demo, I will show you how it is working in my solution. Okay. So this is how we finish the showing up the custom action and how we are going to populate the Word templates. And another thing that we need to identify is the set Word template action will fail with this error, creating entity with an invalid parent error. So that is what happened when your table is not enabled for notes attachments. So you need to enable attachments, including notes and files. So this is the option over here. Here, enable notes, including. So once it is enabled, it will be working fine. Because when we call this set Word template action, what out of the box function does is it just auto generate the Word template file and attach it to the current records. And that is why it is causing this error. So we need to enable attachment in order to make it work. And another one is if you are going to send out an email from the current Dataverse or Dynamics 365, you probably want to set it regarding to the current value. For this example, it will be application. And in this scenario, you need to enable activity for the table, which is called creating a new activity. This option will be over here, creating a new activity. So that's So you need to enable the PPF, you need to enable the notes attachment, and you need to enable the activity. And then you can start your journey of the populating the word templates. So let's see how it works. So the initial part is just initializing the variables. I explain what are those later. So those are just notes, ID, name, and tab in the document body. So this log is populating word templates. So the current flow is it's currently running on the application table where it is modified for a status code, which is a status reason column, where the status is approved or it is rejected. So this is to filter so that it is not running this flow for unnecessary status code changes. And in this populate words template, we switch to based on the status reason. If it is approved, let's say we are going to generate the word template from the approval words templates. And if it's rejected, there will be a rejection template. So in approve, we will just list the document templates. Currently, I just make it dynamically so that the user have an option to update it. Let's say you have the approval letter template V2. You want to upload it with a different name. The user can go and update it in the environment variable. So this approval letter template is stored in the environment variable for this particular solution. So this is the default value. So if they have the different new version, they can just put version 2.0, something like that, and that will pick up, the flow will pick up this value. And once it will return the document template for that document template with this particular name. And we just need to get only one. There will be only one document template with that name. So this is getting the output value from the step above. We put it in the first. First is getting the array, the first in the array, and get this document template ID. So this is getting the GUID of this document template, which is this one. So if you open it up, you will get this one. So this is a GUID that we were looking for this application approval letter. And the next one is to provide this application ID. And this is from the trigger. So the trigger is based on the application. So we can just select the application GUID. So this is how we are passing into the JSON when we call the unbound action. So I just want to quickly show how you can do it to make it populate with the JSON action. So if you call the perform unbound action, let's say, as I mentioned, if you select the set words template, you would normally get all these fields, but you want to put it in the JSON, not in different, all these multiple fields. So what you can do is you can pick a code, and the action name is this name. So just copy this. And what we want to do is we just want to make it a custom value so that the system doesn't recognize this action and not going to show all these fields. So put a custom value, and we can put one of the functions. Just put a trim, or we can use replace space or anything, as long as you're not impacting this value, and it will just get. So we are going to trim this value. So we are just getting the same string value. It's not doing anything else. But what it does is the system the flow designer is not able to recognize that particular function anymore. So it will just only show this action parameters as a one single text box. Then you can just copy this whole JSON file and you can just replace those values based on the normal dynamic values. So that's how you normally populate the actions. So once you call this one, it will list the, it will generate the records as attachment in the notes attachment. So we are going to run and get the file. Okay, before we do that, let's try to run this flow for once in halfway to see how it's working. Okay, so let's run it as a success and save it. And this flow is going to run when the record is success or rejected. Okay, so now we'll deactivate it, we'll approve it. Okay, now we'll wait for the flow to run. We can also test from this. We can also test from the one of the recent triggers. Okay, the flow ran, it populated the word template, it's approved, so it went through this route and created notes. So now if we refresh the timeline, okay, so one is the one that automatically ran, one is the one that I manually ran. It just, the out of the box template, populate the data and attach it as notes. So if we download the file, you will see the file exactly as the file that you would normally just download from the UI. So that is attached into the notes. Okay, so the next step is we want to find this file and we are going to send out an email. So in order to send this file, we are going to list the notes table. Okay, so here, this is the, if I'll delete this one. So the last step in this statement is the one. We are going to list the notes table. We're going to find this attachment. What we're going to find is we're going to find this object value, which is the regarding, is to this application UID, and this document true is where is the attachment document contains data, and this starts with the file name, where we define the approval letter template name in the environment variable. So let's say this one, application approval letter, because this file name starts with application approval letter. So we are going to filter based on this particular filter. And we only need 4 parameters. A notation ID, the UID of this note. This is just to delete it later. For attachment, it needs the file name, tab, and the document body, which is the actual content. Once we retrieve, we set these into this variable. As usual, we're just getting the first one of this one, and select the properties. So this is just to populate the 4 values from these 4 fields. And the next step is to send an email. So to send an email from the Dynamics 365, you need to first create a draft email. Just like how you do in the UI, you cannot create the email and attach it in the same phase. You need to create the new email, save it first, and then attach a document, and then send it out. So similarly, you can send it, you can hard code the sender queue. So for this case, I want to send to the contact value, which is the lookup from this application. After that, I want to put the regarding to this application so that the email is related back to this application. And this is the subject where we're just going to show it's approved or rejected. This is from the trigger. Instead of getting normal status code, you can get the underscore, status code underscore label, and you get the string value of this choice or option set field. So after that, you can create a new attachment record. In the attachment, there's a mandatory, one of the mandatory fields. So you can't save it without populating this mandatory field, but you cannot save it either because it's a system generated one. So you just, this is mentioned in this particular blog post, more details about why we need to set these values and how we did. But for in this one, in constraint of time, I'll just explain, you just populate with the empty string and then the flow will accept it. Similarly, in this steps, instead of selecting email activity or email template, just select the custom value and enter the email, the text. And select the email messages where we are populating the lookup for the email step messages that we have created above. So once we create, we get the GUID, we put it into this lookup so that we are relating this attachment to this email. And out of all the 4 fields, we can populate this body, file name, and MIME tag. And after attaching the email attachment, you can just then perform a bound action. So in this time, this is a simple one. You can select this email messages table and select this send email action, populate the email GUID, and issue send yes or no. So yes means it will actually send. If you select no, it will just change the status to send. And after that, it will just delete this note attachment. So that after sending out the email, it's not going to keep it in the system. It will just send a note attachment. So let's try to delete the old ones while we are running the Cloudflow, the updated Cloudflow to send the email. So see, this is a new one that's created, and it's sending out the from email. And after that, the attachment is automatically deleted by the flow from the last step. And this in this email, it contains the attachment, which has the file that we generated in the notes using the flow. So that is the whole end-to-end solution of this flow. So in the bonus tips, we can actually create and generate a send as a PDF instead of the Word template. In some of the projects I have seen, they are using the export sales record to the PDF API, which is part of the Dynamics 365 sales API. So if you don't have the sales solution, if you only have the Dataverse, I don't think this API is available. Normally what they do is we just populate in JSON format and call this API and put the values in the request, and it will return the JSON files, and we generate and send it as an email attachment. So you can have a read more about it in this particular blog post. Another thing is a lot of times we have problems with all these email attachments. It's growing, and it's taking a lot of file storage space. One thing we can do is, instead of keeping all these data in the file storage of the Dataverse, you can actually move it to the SharePoint, where the storage is relatively cheaper, or even free for a first certain number of terabytes. So in this second tips, you can have, if you have ever growing like file attachments that you need to move on, you can build a flow that automatically move the files from the attachment into the SharePoint as soon as the status of the email is sent, completed, received, or cancelled. You cannot do it in the pending send, because the pending send, the email is actually not sent out from the system yet. Okay, so these are all user groups, meetup links. Now we're getting into the last 10 minutes, so let's start the Q&A. So if you have any question, feel free to unmute yourself, and that's about it.
I have a question, please, Lynn. The screenshot that you had just when you were talking about moving the attachments to SharePoint, and you went into your application and there were two areas. There was attachments at the top, and then there was attachments down. Yeah, attachments in SharePoint. So does that, I haven't seen that attachments in SharePoint document grid before. Is that created as part of that?
Yes, it is part of the custom solution. Not custom solution, I would say. It is the subgrid. You need to enable the document management settings for email.
Okay.
Once you have enabled the email, you can attach documents, SharePoint documents to email, and after that, you can, like other entities, you can just add a subgrid for a document.
Yep.
And that is just a configuration.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Lynn, I have a question too. So do you have any solutions, any solution for PDF if you don't have a Dynamics configured, like apart from the one which you have shared?
I don't think I have seen. I have seen the solutions for PDF, but those are either using the third-party products, or more of yes. I don't think there is any easy, simple, free PDF generation solution with automation, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So do you mean the third party is Adobe with the paid one, the Adobe Cloud API?
Yeah, and there are also relatively cheaper PDF generation services. Even, let's say, even if we already get a point to we have this Word document, until to a point here, I think there are some connectors that allow you to convert Word to PDF, and then once you get PDF, you can use this to send out an email instead of the document, and they will charge it, a few cents for each transaction kind of thing.
I see. I see. So on the other question which I have, that Word template which you are showing. So what are the out of the box feature which we can do using the developer tab? Like, because yes, there is a Word template which is available instantly, but is there anything beyond that like we can do?
The developer tab, as in this one.
Mm-hmm.
The developer tab is just adding more of the fields from the XML mapping.
I see. I see.
I don't think you can do a lot of things. The best you can do is adding the tables.
Yeah.
Let's say the child records.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Linn.
Yeah.
Right. I think yeah, no more questions. I think let's wrap up. Again, so great to see all of you today. Like, thank you so much for attending this session. Like I said, like this is super, really useful, Linn. I mean, honestly, like for the enterprise company like us, especially with Downer and other enterprise companies, similarly, like we have the similar kind of needs. So definitely, like your blog is also really useful. So yeah, thank you so much. And also, like I said, like we will be running this event every month in the Auckland Power Platform user group. So please do reach out to me directly, like if you'd like anyone to speak or as a volunteer speaking. I would love to see you, some of you guys speaking in this event as well. So as I mentioned, like we will be going kind of a hybrid event from New Year. So we have the Auckland Microsoft office has been arranged and it is still in discussion, but most likely from New Year it will be a hybrid event. So please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you again, everyone, for joining today. Thank you, Linn.
Thank you everyone for attending.
Cheers, guys.
Just bye.
Thanks, Linn.